Well, it's time to play. And today we got a lot to show you. And frankly, if you'd like to see the detail behind some of the work that was done here, a lot of this work is done on the live streams. So just head on over to the video on demand part of the live streams. So what we did is we made it so that our portals would be functioning. So you see the portal is working and got the singularity cubes in there. We activated another one so that I could go to the corner of the factory that has the mall. So I can go back and forth to the mall from here easily. And then we'll go to other places in the factory with the hypertube network that Garrett has already established, and the sidewalk network too. So during those live streams and the work I've done offline too a little bit, is that we worked on getting all of the singularity cubes in there. But I get ahead of myself. That's the first product we brought in our new drone port. So the drone port, I'm going to go to A6 here. And the drone port is right outside. You'll see it to the left here. And so I just went to A6. So the truck stations are all lined up here. We have one truck station active. And the drone ports, we established a set of drone ports out here outside the Gigafactory so we could bring product that are of lesser quantity in here, like the singularity cubes. We use 2 per minute per machine and per portal. So 2 per minute per portal means we have to have 12 per minute. Pretty low volume. And so what we had to do is we had to work on getting the volume up for singularity cubes. We had a problem there for a bit with diamonds. We had a problem with dark matter crystals there for a while. We had to increase the volume of both of those. Once we did that, we then established this port, this drone port, to bring back those singularity cubes from the mega factory. Now, at this point, of course, this would be temporary. Eventually, we'll make those singularity cubes here at the Gigafactory. But for now, we had already set up the infrastructure to make the cubes there. And when I say low volume, I'm talking really low volume. We'll look at the back of the truck and see how many it's retrieving. There comes one. So let's look at the drone port, see how many this drone is bringing. Here they come. And they're already going out? Okay, one full stack. So there's 50 in there. And so the truck will go around and pick up this 50 and deposit those 50 and they'll send them over by conveyor belt. This blue conveyor belt that you see here is going under the hub and going to the portal bay that we have set up, where we have that beautiful statue by Whitestone Industries. That's the mechanics of what we're doing at this point for the low volume items. And eventually we won't have any low volume items because we'll bring all those low volume items to the Gigafactory unless it just isn't practical to do so. Alrighty, so now I'm at the opposite corner of the factory from where I was before. I'm on the second floor where we're actually building out our factories. Here is the first factory I decided to build, and the end of this particular factory here is at the end over here. And so the whole idea here was that I was going to make reinforced iron plates, and to balance out the stores, because all I have to do is balance out the numbers input, the input numbers. In order to get full output of this, I needed to start with 4 screw outputs that output 1200 each. So that gave me 3600, which means I've got 4 reinforced iron plate stores that need 3600. So it's 3 to 4 in that regard. What we noticed is that we were trying to obey the aisleways here and make sure that the aisleways were not encumbered, but it just doesn't, after we got this all put together, it just doesn't make sense to do that. For one, it just spreads the stores out to the point where when you finally put enough stores in here to get a factory put together, you end up with, taking up 3 separate bays out of a 6x6 grid. So I'm taking out of 36 bays, I'm taking up 3 of them just for this one reinforced iron plate factory. And that's just a minor item. some of these major items are going to actually take a lot more stores in order to get them put together. So another problem that we found here, and this is all part of prototyping and all part of iterating, just like, my favorite guy, Elon Musk, does with SpaceX. He blasts off a rocket, and the quicker he fails, the more he learns. And so what we learned is that if I put all of the logistics down here on the logistics floor, I begin getting in the way of all of the main product going from the trains and other input areas. I get in the way of those. Like for example, right here, I've got a lift clipping right in the middle of a conveyor belt. I've got these conveyor belts stretching across, and just, all of a sudden I'm creating a ton of spaghetti down here, where Robert was really trying hard to avoid this kind of spaghetti. So he and I got together and we did a little bit of collaborating this morning and decided that we're going to go ahead and use some space that we have up above. We can use the top of all of those stores to move the product from one store to the next store, like these screws over to the reinforced iron plate store. So we're going to go ahead and actually deconstruct everything I worked on here and reconstruct it based on the principles that he and I discussed, which basically is going to be compacting the stores much closer together, putting the conveyors for the stores going from one store to the next store to the next store to the final product up above the stores. And by doing so, we'll have a little bit of clutter up there, but not a whole bunch. Now, another thing it'll let us do is it'll let us wall in all the stores, making them then look like an individual section of the factory, and then we'll put a big sign on the outside of those to denote what kind of factory it is. Like, this one's going to make reinforced iron plate. So I'm going to go ahead and start deconstructing the upper parts. I'll come and take apart all this stuff when I need to move it around, and I'll make Robert happy by getting all the muck out of his logistics floor here.
Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, yes, thank goodness. So, and this is a little bit painful. This part of iterating means, I'm sure when Elon, fired up the first several rockets and they exploded and all kinds of things as he was developing his landing system for his rockets and now the passenger module that's going up that has to successfully take people up into orbit. All of those things. I'll bet he kind of sinks a little bit when it blows up and it destroys all of his value. But that's what has to happen in order to make things better. So you got to be willing to do that. And Garrett, we're going to have a discussion on hypertube placement and so forth. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Was there a specific question that you wanted answered?
So the big issue is, what if I want to then continue this store and this store continues this direction right through where these are? How do we want to deal with where the hypertubes go?
I already built it with the expectation that you guys would remove some of them.
Okay, remove some of them?
You could take out all 5 of those and it wouldn't really be a problem. All you really need to do is just go over to the next section to move places.
Okay.
The number of hypertubes I've got is a little overkill.
Okay.
How many of these will be replaced with the elevator?
Yeah.
All of them.
In 1.1.
All of them.
Okay.
Every single one of those will be replaced by an elevator.
Even in going into the sidewalk?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because we'll just have to stop at the sidewalk. What does that mean for going back and forth from a hub? Does that mean we only have one set of hypertubes coming from a hub, and you go from the hub to the Gigafactory in whatever cell you want, then you use the elevator to go up and down floors?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. That reduces your workload by a lot.
Yes. Yes, a very lot.
Okay. Doc actually proposed that, and I kind of pushed back, saying I really love the look of what you're doing. I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's just Doing one
Insane.
floor was enough. Doing 2 floors was a real drag.
Oh, okay, fine.
I don't want to do the 3rd floor.
I get you. Okay, so we can just delete all of them then.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yep. Although Icy Knight notes that the name of that store is the Screw Store.
Screw store?
Yeah.
Something screwy. Alrighty, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to reconfigure this store's layout and get it consolidated so that it was one contiguous store, so that it didn't take up 3 different sections of our factory, and so that's what we did. We literally took it and made it into one big store that says now we're making 300 iron plates per minute. At this point, we're just poking it down to the basement and putting it into a sink. Later on, we're going to then push it on to get it into the mall. But for now, basically, we have these openings here that show where the reinforced iron plate store is here. That's coming from an iron plate store that's there. And if we go over here, we have the screw store here that's outputting to go downstream to get to the reinforced iron plate store. And so all of it is internal here. And the whole idea is that each of these stores is meant to be connected to each other so that they can perform their particular function and then finally output reinforced iron plates. So you can see the fact that here we got plates and screws going into there. But as far as the outside of this is concerned, it's one contiguous factory that outputs reinforced iron plates, and that's one store. Now, like we said, we wanted to move the logistics for each connected store up to the floor above, and so you see the iron plates and the screws going into the final factory here. Of course, there are 4 factories, 2 of which are on this side, and so the inputs here for the iron plates, and screws go down to the first 2 factories, and then for the second 2 factories are here. So you can see that they're all functioning.
And typically you wouldn't need nearly as many conveyors as this, but just by the way the machines are made, we had to do 2 3 to 4 load balancers, where we have 3 screw stores that feed 4 reinforced iron plate stores and 3 iron plate stores that feed 4 reinforced iron plate stores. So twice we had to do a 3 to 4 load balancer, and that's what causes all this mess.
And now the mess is up here, and should we ever want to do it, we could go ahead and put one more level wall up here to make the walls contiguous throughout the whole thing and actually hide the logistics that's going on here. And in fact, might just do that after we figure out how we're going to deal with the walkways potentially going through here. And we might leave the walkways exactly as they are. We might just leave everything else exactly as it is. So anyway, still kind of a work in progress. We'll kind of see how we decide to dress this up as the factory progresses and gets more mature. This is our first, and you've seen the whole process as we iterated through, found problems, iterated to the next level, and made it better. We'll probably iterate again, and we'll find that we could do better than this. We may or may not deconstruct this and start over. I don't know, probably leave this as is. Items get more and more complex. We will find ways to reduce the complexity in the conveyors and reduce the complexity going forward. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something from this. We did as we made it. Hopefully you did as you watched it. And hopefully you'll hit the like button. You'll subscribe on YouTube, or you'll subscribe on Twitch, and you'll become a member on YouTube. Join us also in here, and join us also on our Minecraft server, as we're playing together on the Minecraft server, all the members and subscribers. And so come join us, have fun with us, join our YouTube, have fun sharing your builds in both Minecraft and Satisfactory, and we'll look forward to seeing you coming forward. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.